All right, let's get to work on the Monty Show because I know you guys are here to talk Pac-12. John Wilner dropped a huge Pac-12 story this morning about the details in which Washington, the University of Washington, filed an appeal asking for an immediate dismissal, really is more accurately, but it is an appeal to the injunction that the Pac-2 were able to get. Washington and the other 9 schools, Washington filed the appeal to that, and then the other 9 schools essentially wrote letters of character to back up Washington, and they are fighting largely over cash in the conference. And we told you about this on the show, that the Pac-2 has a real opportunity to survive if they can get through mediation, if they can come to a negotiated settlement where the Pac-2 and the exiting 10 members of the Pac-12 find a way to agree to disagree where all parties can be left somewhat whole or as whole as possible. That's the only outcome that benefits Oregon State and Washington State. And we've done a lot of work on this today. Our sources are telling us now that the Pac-2, Oregon State, and Washington State are, in fact, willing to share those NCAA tournament units we've been talking about now for 6 weeks that amount to about $60.9 million, just short of $61 million. They are willing to share. To what extent, I do not know, but my sources are telling me that the Pac-2 are, in fact, willing to negotiate on that number, and that should get conversations rolling. Now, we told you for about the last 3 weeks, the Pac-10 exiting schools and the Pac-2 remaining schools have been trying to open lines of communication. I would put it at 3 from what I understand, what nothing to do with the negotiation. They want to just end this whole legal dispute, dissolve the conference, divide it 12 ways. Oregon State and Washington State, in a lot of people's opinion, have them in black and white, in writing, saying that's not possible, which is why Washington and the other 9 schools asked for a dismissal of the injunction that the Pac-2 currently is living under. I don't think they're going to get that. I think this arbitration is going to play out. I think there is going to be a settlement because, Jake, I think that's the only way a settlement that the Pac-2 can survive.
Yeah, I mean, of course the Pac-2 wants to open negotiations on sharing those units because, again, they need this to end, and the only way for it to end and them to also benefit is to settle. And how do we settle? Well, we come to agreement on how we want to essentially divide up things like, basketball units or resources in the conference or whatever the line item might be. And I think that's what you have to understand here is this is all very much a straightforward path to them getting what they want. If you're the Pac-2, you're essentially just trying to get conversations going so that you don't come anywhere near a courtroom to try to figure this thing out, because a courtroom means you're well into Q1, you're probably February, March on a timeline, and you just don't have that kind of time. And so if you're the Pac-10 schools or the 10 that left, you're sitting here saying, yeah, we just want to be done with this, right? We just want to move along. And at the same time, we also feel entitled to get some benefit out of this. It's not as though we left the conference early in our grant of rights, because that would be a different situation. These 10 schools, let's not forget, are leaving the conference as a grant of rights expires. So they were free agents to be, which is why all of this goes into effect next year, next season. So that's why I say if you're the 10 who left, you just want to get this figured out. And you're using the time crunch that the Pac-2 are dealing with against them, in my opinion. That's how I'd be negotiating. Hey, Kirk Schultz, you guys don't have forever here. You got to figure something out. So let's get talking. Let's get this going. And sure, there are always going to be members of those 10 schools that left who don't want anything to do with negotiations. That's just life. Some people don't like to negotiate. They don't like to have the conversation. That doesn't come as a surprise to me either. And as always with the Pac-12, there has always been schools that lead the group and others who follow. And that's, again, a natural progression of life. So to me, I look at this situation and I say, hey, you've got 2 sides. that for different reasons want to accomplish the same goal, which is putting this thing to bed. If you're the Pac-2, you're running out of time. If you're the 10 who left, you're just looking to move on. You're looking to celebrate new beginnings, not continue to live in the past. And I think that's kind of where it stands at this point. Now, where this thing goes, what the path to survival, how this ends up working out, I think remains to be seen, because based on how these negotiations go, it could put the two remaining schools in kind of a tough spot. Like,
absolutely,
if you negotiate and you come up with the short end of the stick per se in negotiations, and you have a much lighter valuation of the things you got out of it than you initially thought when you were making this plan with the Mountain West, that could impact things. Now, again, that's speculation, but I'm just saying that's what's on the table here for the two that are still sitting here. So there is undoubtedly a ton of X factors in this situation.
Yeah, and I think when you consider the amount of money we're talking about, the Pac-12 is due north of $60 million. I was told today it's $60.9 million in tournament units, which means money they've earned over the past years that's paid out in installments. When you win a game in the NCAA tournament, that earns your conference money. And we talked about this with Gonzaga to the Big 12 yesterday. Gonzaga's earned 50 units plus in the last 20 years.
Gonzaga.
Like, it's a lot of money. And in the Pac-12's case, they have $60 million coming to them. That is a negotiating point. And I think Kirk Schultz and President Murthy at Oregon State, I think they're doing a very wise thing. Use those tournament units as a negotiating lever. Pull that lever, share some of that money, and let's put this thing to bed, because I think that's the only way for the Pac-2 to survive. And I find myself rooting for Pac-2 survival. And I think I think that's the case because I truly believe in this brand. I believe that the Pac-12 brand is worth something. I believe that we were also told today, and I don't want to undersell the lead, and I know we've reported this in the past, but I was told today that the Pac-12 and the Mountain West have a framework in place for a merger. They've had deep, long talks, these Pac-2 and the Mountain West. They are in like-mindedness, that they want to work together. I think the Mountain West, it's a no-brainer if you can live under the Pac-12 umbrella with Gloria Nevarez as your commissioner. Like, the whole business synergy is really strong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rooting for the Pac-12 brand to survive because I think it's worthy of that. I think it's worthy of a place where you can take the Mountain West and elevate those universities in that conference. And you look at what San Diego State did last year in basketball, or what Fresno State's doing in football this year. Like, you have real viable properties in the Mountain West, and you have two really good universities in Oregon State and Washington State. And while they don't do much in basketball, they do a whole lot in football. And I think what they don't do in basketball, the Mountain West absolutely supplements and raises Oregon State and Washington State's level of competition in basketball. It's absolutely a no-brainer.
Yeah, and I think the only question is just how far they can take it in terms of the merger with the Mountain West, because again, everyone seems to think that that keeping the auto qualifier, because the NCAA bylaws say you have 2 years, everyone seems to think that the College Football Playoff Committee somehow, some way, just has to respect NCAA bylaws. And I'm telling you, that's not the case. The case is that the playoff committee is not going to comment on this and not going to do anything on this until, let's say, the merger takes place, or until it were to be said, not that I think it'll happen, but hey, the Pac-12 is dead. It doesn't exist anymore. We don't even have to talk about whether they get an auto qualifier or not. So that's what I'm saying. Whether it's the negotiations and how much money you're getting, or whether it's the merger and the auto qualifier, this is not a, hey, what are they going to do thing. This is much more of a, how much can they get? How much can they manage to get out of the situation? Like, how close can these two schools get to what they once had in terms of opportunity? Because I'm not confident that those two plus the Mountain West equals you get an auto qualifier. I think there's going to have to be conversations around that. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but I just don't think it's a home run.
Well, I also think there's an interesting conversation around Kirk Schultz being on the College Football Playoff Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I think is so interesting about that is it's just assumed that he's gonna be a dissenting vote on anything that does not benefit him. And again, today I was told Kirk Schultz has almost no leverage, even with his vote, and that if he is going to be this pirate, if you will, or this dissenter, it is going to make his life very difficult, and it does not behoove him moving forward. And I think the most that Kirk Schultz has in this vote, as it's been explained to me, is a negotiating ploy. That's what he's got, because he can continue. Let's say that you go with this popular narrative that Kirk Schultz is going to vote no, 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 no.
No, no, no.
Why would he do that? How would that benefit Kirk Schultz? Well, it wouldn't really benefit him at the end of the day, because he's got to have a working relationship with this group and everybody involved with the college football playoff, because that's his only track to survival. And the other part that I think is really important to remember is you got to look at the Big 12 and the SEC and the Big 10 and the ACC. Those are the power players. The Pac-12 and whatever happens to them going forward, they're at the mercy of the other conferences. And if they want an automatic qualifier, or if they want a seat at the table, whatever, however you want to spin it, Kirk Schultz has to play ball. There is no doubt about that. He's got things that he is going to need. And I think your point about the AQ, I think your point about, all of these different things, the money, I asked again today if there's any chance of, $640 million or this wildness about $300 million. That does not exist on any way, shape, or form. I've asked multiple people, multiple different ways, and everybody says that is a complete farce. It does not exist. Yeah. So we're not negotiating for $300 million. What Kirk Schultz is negotiating for is, again, the Pac-12, Mountain West, whatever that turns into, their seat at the table. That's what he's negotiating with. And if it's his one vote, hey, man, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
If that's what you have to hang on to, do that. But I think the hardest part for Kirk Schultz is he needs everybody else that would supposedly be fighting against. He really needs their help.
Yeah, and you're talking about a guy that isn't necessarily respected at the highest level by his peers based on the way his institution has performed in athletics, because that's what this conversation is about. And I always encourage people not to forget, academics has nothing to do with this conversation. It is about athletics. It is about, hey, how are we going to run a profitable or a positive running athletic department? How can we make more money so we can afford all these different sports? Like, there's so many things. So that's why I say, like, yeah, sure, he may be on the committee. That doesn't mean he's deciding anything. And by the way, I would also say, if people don't respect you necessarily, why would they come to your aid consistently? Why would they be like, yeah, I'm going to go out of my way to help Kirk Schultz for what exactly?
I have no idea.
And so that's my point. Like, there's not a good reason. There's not an obvious thing. And that's why I say, like, whether it's this $300 million, rumor, which is just not true, or whether it's Kirk Schultz is on the board and he gets to decide. He doesn't. Yeah, he has a vote, but that doesn't mean that he's got enough power to sway decisions, right? It's not a hard concept to understand.
The thing that people don't understand is the College Football Playoff Committee and the subcommittees are about synergy. They generally are a room full of dissenting voices that come together to make one decision that they feel is best for college football.
Yes.
It's not a jury where it gets to be a hung jury because one guy won't vote no, guilty or innocent, or it's just not going to. That's not the way it works. So listen, and it doesn't almost matter where you come down on it. These things are going to play out.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger thing here is we're moving closer and closer to a settlement. We are moving closer and closer to some finality for Oregon State and Washington State, which they desperately need, and they need it now, because those two universities find themselves, especially Oregon State, finds itself in a position of not its own doing. Oregon State's done it the right way for a long time. While you may have a new president, you have a guy in Scott Barnes, who I'm told is still talking to Washington about their athletic director position. We'll find out, or a role in their athletic department. I seriously doubt he takes that job. But you're looking at a situation where Oregon State has done it right for a long time, and Scott Barnes is a hell of an athletic administrator. I think their renovations, their facilities, the programs to support their kids and their athletes, Oregon State does it the right way.
Facts.
And they truly are a victim of circumstance. And if the roles were reversed and they were in a better position, in a different location even, not that anything's wrong with Corvallis, but I mean, you're not going to Oregon for Oregon State. You're going to Oregon for, Oregon. And it puts you in a really tough spot.
Yeah.
And is deserve the right word for Oregon State? It's not. You deserve what you've earned. I think they've earned the right to continue as a P5 university.
I agree.
And I think they have an opportunity to do that as long as this Pac-2 continues.
Yeah.
That's the beginning and the end of it. And I just really hope that that's what we get.
Yeah.
And I think we're moving closer and closer to that. All right. Less of us, more of you on the Monty Show. As we do every day at this time, we tell you that Bucked Up is the official energy provider of the Monty Show. The last day for buckshot samples is today. If you have not gotten your buckshot sample, tomorrow we will roll out a new shaker cup sample package for you on the show. But we are trying to get to a number, we've never had 300 samples on the show of any product. And we truly are. We are about 8 of these samples away. So in the description below, look for the buckshot sample. Click on it. They'll send it 6 buckshots right to your front door for free. Every day on the show, I tell you, it's 200 milligrams of caffeine combined with awesome amounts of brain food. It lifts your spirit. You don't have a crash. You don't have a spike. You just have mental clarity to get through your day and make sure that all of your days are your best days. So cheers to you. Always good. I love the Blue Raz. I love the watermelon. Blue Raz right now, I'm on a run.
Gas.
I am on a run. I love this stuff. Hook it up right now, buckedup.com. Use the description or the link in the description below to get the free samples. Hook it up. By the way, they just introduced their new Rut Booster, which is their testosterone booster for men. That's got Tongatali in it, ashwagandha, iron, vitamin D3. It's got zinc, vitamin B9. Like, it is one of the...
What do you bench?
It is one of the best testosterone boosters, and so many dudes ask me, hey, does Bucked Up have a low T product? Boom. Just search RUT, R-U-T, booster at buckedup.com. Use the promo code Monty20 to get 20% off at checkout. Let's get your thoughts in here. Hey, what a great way to start the comment section today with Stephen Smith.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. A member of the show. You guys, our membership is booming on this channel. I am so thankful to all of you that watch this show. Hit the join button. We have 2 levels of membership. $1.99 gets all your comments read because it highlights it and puts a star next to it. For $9.99 a month, you get into our members-only content, which is really our Instagram exclusive chat group where we share all of our prize picks. We cry, we laugh, we get mad. We talk football on Saturdays and Sundays. Like, it is an amazing group of dudes. Hook it up for $9.99 a month. Just click the join button. Welcome Stephen Smith, everybody, to the membership. Big 12 all-text sports fan. Ducks better not get shot down by my buckshot.
See what he did there?
Buckshot, because it is in the form of a shell, right? Because it's called buckshot. It is in the form of a shell. I'm telling you, elite ingredients that make an elite product that does exactly what it says it's going to do.
Yeah, it's going to give you that shot of energy.
If you guys have gotten the buckshot samples, fire away, man. Let's go. Let everybody know how great they are. All right, let's get your comments in here. Where are you guys at today? Mike Smith. Mike, how's the mood today? Mike, you seem to be Some days and then other days, when they accidentally add an onion ring or two with your fries. Are you guys talking about Burger King?
No, he's talking about Jack in the Box.
First of all, hey, how fat am I that I immediately thought Burger King when you said they add an onion ring to your fries? No, it's the first thing that came into my mind. Bryce Martin, playoff committee already has plans for either inevitability. I also think they already have an idea of how it will play out. I do as well.
Yeah.
I do as well. And I think that's why the Pac-12, Oregon State and Washington State, are angling, and let me put this up here for you. This is an excerpt from John Wilner's column today at the San Jose Mercury News. The 10 outbound schools are concerned about the use of the Pac-12's financial assets, which include more than $60 million in NCAA basketball tournament revenue. If the Beavers and Cougars are deemed the sole members of the governing board, they could keep the Pac-12 alive for 2 years, 24 months, then pocket the assets, shutter the conference, and join the Mountain West. I think that is I don't think they'll do that for 2 years. I think that's a tough existence. But I absolutely think they want to keep that money, and I think they absolutely want to merge with the Mountain West.
Yeah.
And I rightly so, I think the 10 exiting members want their chunk of the pie. The problem is you have these two entities, Washington and these other 9 that filed for dismissal of this injunction, that they know they're had. Like, the argument of the 10 exiting members is, we never sent a letter to the conference saying we're leaving. Well, you did send a letter of intent and sign a grant of rights with the various conferences that y'all joined, which knock you out of consideration to, stay in the conference according to and that's in the charter and in the bylaws of the Pac-12. As soon as you give notice that you are leaving the conference, you're off the board, you have no decision-making power. Well, you gave notice, and I don't think there's a judge in this country that is going to side with the exiting 10 members that they didn't give notice.
Yeah, well, here's the problem, though. If that presumes that your grant of rights is still in place and you're leaving the contract early, right? So that's fine that it says that. But on the other side of it, if I'm representing the 10 who left, I'm saying, yeah, we might have given notice, but the conference is dying. So what did you want us to do? Give notice we were staying in a conference that didn't exist? Like, well, you can't play that hand if you're the Pac-2 because the grant of rights expired. So it's not the 10 remaining's fault that they were not or the 10 exiting that they were not interested in the Apple deal, right? Like, hey, the grant of rights expired and they found the best deal for them. So in my opinion, again, I'm not saying it's fact, my opinion is yes, the bylaws say that. But I think these 10 over here have an easy way to cut right through that and have a great argument for that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it is. I just think it's going to be very interesting because I also think these 2 remaining members, they're going to paint Oregon and Washington. They're going to paint Arizona and Arizona State and Colorado, and they're going to paint these guys as money grubbers.
100%.
As they should, but I don't even think they have to. It's going to be very difficult for a judge to review the charter and the bylaws and side with the leaving 10 members. It's going to be very difficult to do that. I think it is. We're never going to get there. There's going to be a settlement. I think it is going to be some sort of distribution of that $60 million in tournament units, and everybody's going to go about their business. Oregon doesn't need the money. I don't even think Oregon wants the money.
Premise.
It is the principle. It is the principle. And I think that is, in my opinion, where a lot of these universities are. I think it very simply is the principle of the thing. And it's tough. Like I look at the money that we're talking about, like when you consider, that you have 2 teams that could conceivably split $6 million. But So the college football playoff pays each conference $6 million per team that gets in. So if each conference gets $6 million from the college football playoff for each team that's selected, and you get all this money as you go on, the problem is Oregon State and Washington State aren't college football playoff caliber. Not at least yet. And I think it's a real stretch to get there. So at that point, you're looking at a significantly less payout. So as we talked about yesterday, that's why basketball becomes so important. Because it's a revenue stream. It is absolutely a revenue stream. You know, and if you look at the way that the conferences pay out, and this is what I want people to understand, I think there's so many people who believe that the Pac-12, these two remaining members, are going to get some huge payout. I'll even put this up on the screen. That's not the case. And you need to understand it's not the case. Because you look at the facts, and this is from the NCAA and the college football playoff, who are in business together. The college football playoff ultimately makes this decision. Each conference gets $300,000 for each of its schools when the school's football team meets the NCAA's APR for participation in postseason football. So you're a two-team conference. So you would get $600,000 because you're going to be academically eligible. A conference would receive $6 million for each team that's selected for the semifinal games. So you're not going to get that, not at this point. A conference will receive $4 million for each team that plays in a non-playoff bowl under the arrangement. So you're going to get bowl money, but where are you going to get? We're talking about millions, not hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just very difficult to walk away if you are Oregon State and Washington State from that $60 million. That is ultimately, the battleground. That is what you're fighting for. So I see a bunch of people asking, well, how much is it? There it is right there.
Yeah.
That is what it is. Let's see. Ooh, duck season. Wow, look at that.
Holy cow, bro.
Tanner Plummer, Bo Nix beat Utah on one leg last year. This year, he's going to steamroll your entire team. Say goodbye to that fraudulent home streak. Rice Eccles is too quiet. I just don't understand. Why do you come in here with vitriol and anger every time? Why can't you have like a legitimate conversation about football? And you're talking to the wrong guy because Tanner Plummer is by no stretch of the imagination a Utah fan.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're doing. Let's see. Kevin the Destroyer, you leave, you lose. Johnny Gonzalez says benefactor shaming, indeed. Greg Hill, I'd be shocked if a judge sided with the departing 10. It'd be really difficult. It'd be really difficult.
I'm just telling you. If they had left during the grant of rights, if we were in a situation like the ACC, I would completely agree with that. The problem is, I don't know how you side one way or the other, automatically, because each side, in my opinion, has a legitimate stake to this thing.
Right, but you gave notice, as did USC and UCLA. And what happened to USC and UCLA? And this is the previous behavior that the Pac-2 are talking about. USC and UCLA announced they are leaving the Pac-12 to go to the Big Ten in 2024. What did they immediately do? Removed USC and UCLA from any decision-making, took their seats on the board away. Took them out. So now, here you are, a year later, and you have 10 universities that essentially have said the exact same thing. Does that mean they bailed on the grant of rights? They did not. It expires on June 30th. But you've given notice that you are leaving the conference for another conference. And in the bylaws, black and white, that you no longer have a seat at the table in the Pac-12. You are off the board, and you have no decision-making influence. The only two schools who haven't done that are Oregon State and Washington State. I think their case is really strong, in my opinion. Les McGee, the bylaws and grant of rights are two different documents concerning two different entities. Well, I wouldn't say they're different entities. They're two totally different contracts. Because the bylaws essentially govern how the conference operates. A grant of rights is simply a contract with a TV network. So they're multi-tiered because you're, as a university, signing your grant of rights to the conference, who then is going to take that grant of rights and sell it to a TV distributor.
Yeah, I mean, if we're treating the conference, I mean, if we're treating USC and UCLA leaving the same way we're treating the 10, then sure, okay, great, yeah, they have a strong case, but I don't know how. Just the same way, I don't know how any judge would logically side with the 10 remain or the 10 who left. I also don't know how you can logically just ignore the context of the situation. Because, again, I'm not disagreeing what the bylaws say. I've not disputed that. I'm simply saying that when you review the situation, USC and UCLA left in a very different situation. Think about it. USC and UCLA left, and then what did we have? We still had 80% of the conference on the same page. We're all moving forward together. Everything is great.
Yeah.
And then when the 10 left, it was a totally different thing. So, yeah, if you're the two remaining, of course you're going to lean on the bylaws. Of course. But
yeah.
I that's your play. But I think if you're the 10 leaving, you're saying, hey, what were we supposed to do? Like it's not our fault that like if and I agree, if you're Oregon State and Washington State, you're going to paint the big boys as money-grubbing, greedy schools.
They are.
That's
Absolutely.
exactly what I would do. But if you're those very same schools, Oregon, Washington, USC, the big boys, whatever, you're going to say, okay, well, we've been doing the winning. We're money grubbing because we've been winning. That's the angle you have to play. So that's why I say, I'm telling you guys, in my opinion, maybe I'm way wrong, I don't think it's just a slam dunk either way. I think it really depends on who's fighting for you and the story that they can really tell and the emotion they can put into it.
Here's what the exiting 10 members are saying in their statement as we share another memorable fall. Shut up. Just Our court filing shows how our schools are in full compliance with the Pac-12 bylaws, which prohibit a member from leaving the conference before August 2024, but allows schools to announce their withdrawal that will happen after that date. We are looking forward to engaging in further candid and constructive conversations that will allow us to reach a fair resolution and position our communities for future success. So you see it right there. That's what they're saying.
Right. They're saying, okay, we weren't allowed to leave technically before 2024. That's of course the obvious angle that they're going to play.
Right.
But if you're the two remaining, you're saying, dude, I don't care what the date is. The bylaws say if you give notice, you're off the board and it's black and white and it's that simple.
Here's what the two remaining are saying. The departing schools continue to undermine our efforts to secure the future of the Pac-12 conference. Note again that we've told you on this show that is the sole intention of Oregon State and Washington State to save the brand of the conference. They are relying on flimsy arguments to try and escape accountability for their actions. It won't work. Their decisions directly damage the Pac-12 and are causing real harm to the conference. Oregon State and Washington State student athletes and the people of Oregon and Washington, we did not create or seek these circumstances, but OSU and Washington State will continue to take whatever actions are necessary to protect our universities, ensure accountability and transparency, safeguard the Pac-12 conference, and preserve our options moving forward. The future of the Pac-12 should be decided by the schools who stay, not those who go.
Because it's all part of the plan.
Yeah, we get it, man. We get it.
I don't see...
Do you see how much emotion is in that? Do you guys see what I'm getting at? So they're going to play the victim, money grubber, sadness, emotion. We're give us our control back card.
Yeah.
And the 10 leaving are going to say, hey, that's fine. They can feel that way. But the reality of the situation is, yeah, we had bylaws, But those bylaws don't really mean anything if the conference can't move forward because we couldn't secure a grant of rights.
Yeah, I agree.
So what's the point of bylaws if you can't secure grant of rights?
Yeah.
So as an institution, hey, I'm Phil Knight, or hey, I'm whoever. As the leader of my institution, what am I supposed to do? And you're really going to side with two schools, respectfully, who never controlled the fate of this conference, yet all of a sudden when everyone leaves, they're going to sit here and say that they want to control the fate of the conference. That's the two remaining's problem.
Yep, totally agree. The comment section on some days, and maybe because it's Taco Tuesday, I don't know. What are you guys arguing about? What are we arguing? Like, screw duck season, man. Like, why do you engage with the guy? Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
You're making me, you're not breaking me, bro. Keep commenting. It's fine.
Sean Robinson. The conference is the grant of rights. The conference exists outside of the grant of rights.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. Yes. Christopher Shannon. Michigan giving Harbaugh a raise to be the highest paid conference coach. Not too sure about that one.
It's a defense.
They're trying to keep Jim Harbaugh at Michigan as much as they can. As much as they can. OG Gary, burn time, make them capitulate because they will get desperate. That's pretty much what negotiations are.
Another factor.
Absolutely. The Chris D, if that's the argument, make the argument. Don't say they're reading the bylaws wrong. I think what this is they're both reading the exact same verbiage and script, and they are interpreting it to help their cause.
Yep.
And a judge is going to interpret it and make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
But we're never going to get there because I think it's going to settle long before.
And that's why I say the time thing, the previous comment, you're absolutely right. Hey, we don't have a lot of time to work with this. So you can go to court and you can try to make this argument and you can suffer and not schedule more athletics for next year and do all these things you need to do. Or you can just settle with us and we can move along.
Greg Hill, cue the violins as Monty reads this. Jeff Woodworth, Gumby used to love Taco Tuesday. I have been DM'd and told that Gumby is a mirror image of another account who's never been seen in the same room. So, yeah, it turns out that Gumby's not actually who he thought he was. So, yeah, he's not who he thought he was. Aaron Wilson, Jim Choi, you owe me so big now. Okay, that sounds interesting. Geoff, what's up, Geoff? Damn, duck season here to piss in everyone's cereal again, just like last year. Cool guy alert. Yeah, I don't know why you guys. I don't know why you guys feed the trolls. I really don't.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. Man, it's been just settle down. Let's see. Joey Z says duck season sounds better. Duck season says that statement looked like it was written by Chat GPT. Could be. Who knows? Gumby for Speaker of the House. Gumby was forever our conference commissioner. He was never our conference commissioner.
Whoever came up with that shit.
And I'm not outing people, but you don't have to go too far to kind of. Do you have an idea of who?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, Conference Commissioner Gumby, and I'll text it to you, but you cannot.
Yeah, I won't say it.
You cannot say it.
Yeah, these are trade secrets within the program.
I was DM pretty clearly and said, "Hey, this is who this is."
Guys.
Yeah,
guys.
So I sent that to you. It's just one of those things, dude. Like, come on. It is what it is. Johnny Gonzalez, Pac-12 was here way before USC, UCLA, Cal, Stanford, College, and they will be here way after they are gone.
That's the question, right? I mean, again, the Big 12 never quite got to this point in the, hey, our conference is dying conversation, right? The Big 12 found their way back, obviously, before it ever got to this situation. And that's why I'm saying, like, I disagree a little bit with those who say this is just an automatic that a judge is going to side with these two because we've never seen this before.
If a judge sides with them, can I punch you in the face?
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Okay.
Absolutely. Sure, dude. Sure. Hey, do it.
It gets old. You've been right too much lately. And so Jake has had his tail feather up.
I knew today would be shitty.
Well, hey, look at all my prize picks money.
Dude,
hey, man, I'm taking the hose down to Cabo for the weekend with my prize picks money. So I won't be around for golf.
I'm going to take a banana boat picture, okay?
You know. Jerk. GTI Brandon says, hey, guys.
Guys.
Aaron Wilson, Gumby is Tarrant County boy. Could be.
Maybe.
Could be. Jeff Woodworth, Gumby was not the great radio wizard.
He's just a hack.
Mike Smith, settlement, 2 cases of buckshot, scheduling deal with the Big 12 and Papa Murphy's with me. Everybody gets meatballs. Yeah.
So wait, are we now voting on who everyone thinks Gumby is? I guess.
We
Is
need
that
to
what's
stop.
happening?
Ute season, man. You want to know how you know somebody's been around a while? Gumby was Sarah Todd's burner.
Okay. What a time on the program, dude.
That was a volatile relationship.
Program.
You know. Comment dump. Tanner Plummer, like he and Manti Te'o's girlfriend hung out. Jeremy Callahan. Oh, boy. Manti's girlfriend is in the room.
Macaque.
You know. Joey Zay, Jake is on a hot streak.
Trying, man.
Dude.
I'm trying.
OG Gary, Gumby is a mindset. Absolutely.
100%.
You guys. Great. I wasn't going to out you, Kevin the Destroyer, but since you guys had a great weekend, I'm Gumby. Damn it. I am the Batman. Take me into custody. Right? Come on. Hawkeye fan in Indy. Gumby is Eddie Murphy. Absolutely.
Yeah, probably,
One of the
dude.
best sketches ever. Mm-hmm. What a time to be alive. Yes.
Seriously.
Gumby is Hunter Biden's burner account, laptop, AI, cell phone, and stuff. Exactly.
I'm screwed.
Jeremy Callahan, hot streak, hot pants, 2 holes.
That's right.
Hey
That's
now.
right. That's right.
Hey now. You know, Gumby is the father.
Dude.
If you guys know, I'm not going to say a thing. Because if you
Don't
guys
say
knew.
it, dude.
If you
Don't
guys
say
knew. No, he's not Kaiser Sosa. No, he's not.
No.
Kyle Wilson, Gumby sounds like a severe dental problem. Yes. Yes. Tanner Plummer, we are Gumby. We are a legion. Expect us. If you know, you know. Name that tune. J-Rod, Gumby for life. Hashtag Gumby for life. You know. Michael Zonka, you guys are discussing a legal issue like a sports story. The law here is relatively clear. The Pac-2 wins based on contract law.
Okay. Well, contract law might be black and white on a piece of paper, but the next time a contract is broken because of context and because of what actually happened won't be the first time.
I think contract law is a very good way to put it. And I think
that's what it is. You're not wrong. That's absolutely what this is. I mean, it is. You agreed to bylaws. The only hole I think you can poke in this to get out of that logic is, hey, that's all fine and dandy that there was a contract for a conference that used to exist. The conference doesn't exist anymore. It literally, dude, without it. So everyone's saying, oh, well, the bylaws are different than the grant of rights. No, they're 2 different pieces of paper that coexist together to properly run an athletic conference at the university level. So you might have bylaws, but without a grant of rights that pays schools to be in your conference, you don't have a conference.
I would agree with that.
And so it is contract law, but how do you apply a contract to something that doesn't exist? That's my point.
But okay, I am going to punch you in the face.
Okay.
The conference does exist. And it is in existence until Oregon State and Washington State say it's not. This is not, and this is something I think people need to understand. As of right now, you are asking a judge, Washington and the 9 other vacating members, asked a judge to lift this injunction so that they could dissolve the conference. And if I'm Oregon State and Washington State, I have a compelling argument and a contract that says you can't do that.